And welcome everybody to the Natural Ones. Thank you for joining us this evening for our story of and sometimes merriment and sometimes destruction. I feel like that's a pretty accurate depiction of what you guys do whenever you guys go anywhere. It's like equal parts mirth, equal parts dearth,
and
equal parts girth,
and double parts girth. So
yeah. Our heroes on this show have recently returned from they've had a sort of run-in. I mean, I don't want to spend the third episode talking about the Tower of Blight, but basically that's where you guys still are. You guys are kind of recovering from that, but you have made moves forward at this point. Lolly herself, as well as Panther, have had a nightmarish dream that has sort of relinked them to their devilish sort of almost said
foe.
I almost said overlord, and I was like, that's not really right, is it?
That's not.
But their the devilish foe is towards the south end of Jortania, towards the coast. Interestingly, also he's so cute. It's just
okay. It is on purpose. At first, I was wondering if Miles just tying his shoes.
He's just trying to do something. And it's just it's purposeful. All that they find is that a couple of their goals, chiefly among them Philip's replacement arm, is going to require them. Or not the arm, sorry, you were making the weapon is going to require you to go to the south end of Jortania to mine a specific type of steel. All of these things start to converge towards the southern end of Jortania. So they have opted to move their magical mansion from the Maledict Wastes to the southern end of Jortania, a trip that will take around 8 days just to get into the area. And during that time, they have a few other leftover last-minute details to really kind of hone in on while they're sort of prepping for their big encounter. First, who would like to go first? I'll give that option. Does anybody like to lead us out?
Who's won?
You're one.
Okay, I didn't assign anything before I rolled the D4.
You just rolled a die.
I was like, there's 4 of us. This will work great.
So close. This close.
To an actual idea.
Yeah. I don't know why I keep rolling a D4. Every time I do, it goes badly.
We'll open up with you.
Okay.
So, while you have arguably almost the entire length of the trip that it's going to take you to actually get to your next location is about how long you're going to have to wait before the metal arm that Liam is going to be building for you is going to be ready. So a lot of your time is probably spent considering that, what if it doesn't work, that kind of stuff. But you have decided also getting this job from the Hellpike family, to obtain the infernal steel. You've decided that you wanted to go to the Sleeverworm archives, to see what other research you might be able what other history you might be able to learn of past heists into the 9 hells, a very Reichian ritual. We open there as you step up to the halls, much different than the house, the original sort of like outpost that you met down in southern, mid Grania. It's not extravagant, right? There are many other Reichian homes or like main clan houses or headquarters that have these opulent sort of architecture or flair to it. this seems much more rudimentary, as well as it's still larger than some of the other ones, but it's also more vertical. It has, as you step inside, there are no wall separations at all. The height of the building, as you step in, you can see all the way to the top. It's this grand sort of 120-foot, 130-foot structure of walls lined with scrolls, books, parchments. This is a massive library of a headquarters. This thing, you see desks and things strewn about. Each floor is a walkway about 10 or 15 feet wide, but other than that, it's just an entirely empty center, right? So, like, all of these things are lined up here. The main floor itself stretches for about 250 feet in diameter. This thing is enormous in its scope. And you see dozens and dozens of people, dwarves, gnomes, genasi, some humans, kind of scattered about, all kind of looking through various tomes or, again, parchment scrolls. Everybody's looking at stuff. There is a main central information desk, you would call it, right? Like, there is like a central place where there's about 10 people. There's 10 gnomes working inside the circle. They're all kind of like doing a couple of different things, making notes, and sort of like somebody comes up and hands them a book, and they take the book and they set it. They like, as they set it behind them into this almost looks like a waste bin. As they like chuck it behind them, you just see a small little, like a just tiny little golden flash. And then once or twice, you catch on the shelves, you just see a little, almost correlating time, like almost as if as soon as it hits, it just appears at some other place.
This kind of automation's gonna put librarians out of the job.
The
magic taking our jobs.
The oldest gnome ever. It's gonna put it out.
It's Tarvish. It's Tarvish's brother, Blarvish.
His cousin.
I used to be a librarian till the magics took my job.
To the magics.
I remember when we wrote on rocks.
The magics is spelled with a K as well. It's MIGICKS.
Yeah, the high magics. If you know what I mean.
Yeah.
I mean, Blarvish and Tarvish, you know they
imbibe in that. The
wake and
the
bake
long
and
bottom
bake.
leaf.
Yeah.
Neville Longbottom?
The Neville Longbottom leaf?
The Neville Longbottom leaf? Alright, well, I'm gonna walk up to the gate. Or not the gate,
the central
kiosk where all the gnomes are. I'm not even gonna bother trying to figure out how that machine works. Or that magic works. I'm just gonna assume, cool, they figured out a way to put those books on the shelves without putting the books on the shelves.
Stepping up to the...
I like the idea that the books make him so nervous that he's narrating. He's saying this to himself as he does it for comfort.
I'm not gonna
walk in.
Alright, Philip, don't look to the sides, just look straight ahead, keep walking.
like the books are all just gonna jump out at him like, you can't read us!
It's like his version of a fear of heights. Alright. The paper can't cut you if you just keep walking forward.
A new use of tunnel vision.
Yeah.
So, you're greeted nicely, but they seem to be kind of... They seem to be working and just kind of waiting for a response or a need. You're getting the idea that they don't have a lot of niceties here, but it's not out of rudeness. It's just out of efficiency.
I was wondering if you could help direct me to any records of the heist specifically that involve the person on the heist fighting a devil. Unfortunately, when I was on the heist, we didn't end up fighting much.
He already hands you a card.
Perfect.
And it's like, it lists floor 10, subsection C, row 33.
Okay. I can get to 10. That's just 1 10 times.
Thank you.
All right. that was to me, not to them.
Oh no, I was imagining that you were just still standing there, like reading the card to yourself. He's
right.
like, please.
Okay. All right.
Fucking 1
right.
10 times.
I just gotta count 1 10 times, and then that'll get me to 10.
On 3 sections of the tower.
Yeah.
So there's the main entrance that you came in.
Yeah.
On the other like triangle ends of this big building, there are elevators that go all the way to the top. These giant pulleys.
All right. I'm gonna get on an elevator.
It's different than like the ones you've experienced, like in Sested. It's because like in Sested it was magical in nature. It was something that utilized stonework and like lodestone work and that kind of stuff to help elevate. This is entirely mechanical.
So I gotta like pull the.
Mm-hmm. You actually like have to like. It's like a single person usage elevator. So like as you're pulling yourself up.
That's gonna be a problem. Yeah, I'm gonna have to. Does it?
It doesn't. It's not like you have to hold on to it for it to stay.
Okay.
It's kind of like a. It's more of like you have a operation lever that says up or down.
Okay, so if I let go, I'm not going to suddenly drop.
Right. It has a locking mechanism that
Like a monkey wrench.
Okay.
Or yeah, kind of.
Okay. One way winch style.
Yeah.
All right.
But over time, you're able to get up to the 10th floor, making your way. It's easy. The subsections are also labeled. It's as you get to row 33, you kind of see this. The entire row is a listing of these sort of like encyclopedia type books, where it's a very simple binding, and in a black like label right there on the thing. It says "The Heist Through the Ages," Volume 1, and it ends with like Volume 32.
Well, I guess actually it's the.
It didn't tell you any specific book. It just said this row.
Is there anybody with an apron and a name tag?
Yeah. There's somebody around. There's someone close enough that you're able to get him.
Hi. So there's 32 volumes of these. Do you know? I'm assuming Hellpike is in the first one.
She's like, yes. The Hellpikes were, the originators of the entirety of the. Her journey makes up nearly a third of that first volume.
Oh.
Inside that, you would also find the original rules of the heist and the sort of the politics around it and why it became such a fast desire from people to do.
How long does it usually take somebody to read through these?
Well, so this is not like a story necessarily. It's more of a historical text, so it's definitely thorough, but it's not going to be entertaining beyond the information, if that's So I guess if you're looking for a story, it's probably not that. It might take a little bit longer. But some of our scribes can finish the 32 volumes within 2 days, 3 days, if they have to take a little bit more breaks.
So just the Hellpike part or is that just the Hellpike part, or is that all 32?
All 32.
Okay, so just the Hellpike part.
So even looking at they're longer bindings and they're not that thick. It's just that it seems to correlate between time periods. The volumes again, in that encyclopedic way where it's from years 432 to 476. It's accounting the attempts and the stories therein.
Okay.
So it's a lot of attempt. It's a long time since they've been doing this, but it's not even taking even if you just as you take out one and kind of look at it, it's more like a bullet point list of things that happened rather than a weaving of a tale or something like that. It's a bunch of information.
It's more like an almanac than a...
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. You've been very helpful.
Well, if you ever need anything else, we're around.
I appreciate it. All right. I'm going to scan the... primary goal is to look for any sections that are labeled as the actual fight, or even the preparation for the fight, I think. Anything regarding Eliana's preparations and then the actual combat itself, I think are going to be my priorities.
So if you're gonna try to stick towards the first volume specifically,
whichever parts actually detail the heist itself.
Okay, I just meant you're looking for her. You're looking for Helena's
I want to scan through them starting at the beginning to look for anything she did for preparation.
Cool.
And then anything pertaining to the actual combat.
Go ahead and give me an investigation check just to see.
Oh boy. And then, if I have time afterwards,
you would look through.
I'm curious about the political part, about how it ended up becoming a staple of Reikio. 17.
Way to go, my friend.
I rolled an 18.
I'd say it's just that it's one of those things that you're deeply invested in, so it's just it absorbs in a very different way for you. You're actively reading. What you find from her account and from the retelling from the Sleeve of Worm is that her journey into the Hells was... She spoke of how it came seemingly out of nowhere. Helena was a minor. She and her brother,
like mining, not
like a child.
It's just Chelsea's things.
But a wee minor.
So good. So she and her brother, and by extension her family, were some of the premier miners of their time. They had kind of been cultivating new techniques and pushing forward much more quickly and more feverishly than others. And so because of that, they were able to cultivate better materials. Some of their work was just better in that way. On such one occasion, she actually fell down a shaft and was lost for her. By her account, she said, "I was wandering through the caverns for about 2 weeks. It was a thing that she fell in a way that took her deep underground, and also made her lose her way. She couldn't figure out which way was up and which way was down, basically. She came upon the gate. And the gate seemingly coming from nowhere at a time where she needed it the most. And being innately curious is, again, like, this is, again, it's not like a story, but it is like her account of it. It's like her telling somebody else her story. She said, being innately curious, I decided to step in. And it took her to the 9th layer of hell. She immediately became beset on by various powerful devils, was enslaved to do their work for months, was sort of trained in their battle tactics in a way, because while she was captured, she was constantly looking for a way to get out. And what she found was that the gate, they couldn't, for whatever reason, the devils couldn't see it. Like, they couldn't find it. And she knew where it was, but she could never get away from her captors long enough. And so she developed tactics, and she developed things that were sort of like, okay, this is how the devils think, this is how they work, this is how they fight. A lot of their, and she also could tell a lot of their resistances and the conditioning that they have is, they are just beings of energy, and so they're able to resist more things that aren't magical. They also seem to shrug off anything, like they were fire resistant, they were, magically resistant on top of that. Like, it's, there were times where she saw other people like herself get thrust into this layer of hell, but found out, very quickly that some of these people were under contracts and the like. So there came a time where she was, part of her work was, because she was a minor, what they would do was that they would keep her working. She would do the same work that she did up above, but she would do it under much harsher conditions. And they were trying to refine a metal that they could then, by the end of her story, I'm sorry, I'm trying to skip ahead a little bit. By the time she broke out, what she had found out was that the steel that they were perfecting, this like alloy, this thing that they were perfecting, they were going to be able to make it appear on the material plane. And they called it infernal steel. It was going to be a thing that would sort of like parasitically feed into the material plane, so that way they could start making this like indestructible metal that helped bind a devil to the material plane. It essentially allowed them an extra gateway, right? So if they could make the ore or the steel appear within the material plane, that is now a anchor point for devils. It's saying we can spawn here if we put in the work. So it was basically reserved for higher level demons, higher level sort of like power, and it was to be used sparingly, because by the very nature of using that to bring a devil to the material plane, it wastes the infernal steel. Basically, it becomes the devil, right? Like, the devil uses the steel to make a body on the material plane. So what she did, having learned from her brother, and sort of like other people in her family, what they were also trying to do is to see, when you make a devil on the material plane, if we put another chunk of that ore, if we can get another, like that's what the devil's plans were, it's like if we can get another chunk out there, we can make a weapon strong enough to fight against celestials as well as our own kind, like against demons as well. So she made her hell pike Oh, sorry, she didn't make... She helped make a weapon out of the infernal steel. Was able to steal the weapon, kill her captor, the person who basically held her contract. But because she wasn't a soul that, like, gave it up to be a part of the hell, she was able to leave. She was the only one who could leave because she was coveted for that, and so she was used more like a pet, right? It was like I have someone who we're going to turn, and she's going to give up her soul eventually. Just watch. She was able to take the pike, kill her captor, and make a break for the gate, and was able to escape. The last part, and this is part of your other question about like tactics or whatever, is that it's like with the infernal steel, if used to kill a celestial, a fae, a fiend, an extraplanar creature, even elementals, right? The powerful part of this infernal steel is that they no longer have to be killed on their home plane. If you destroy them with the infernal steel, they are destroyed completely. Part of the reason, some of the last stuff she heard from the sort of like congregation of the captors and everything was that this was a thing that would benefit them. The politics around this was that when she came back, she said, we need to dig a tunnel to this because we need to be on the lookout for this. It was a rally to action. She came back after months in this prison, and when she came back to Ulankar, it had been like 2 days. I mean, she was gone for 2 weeks and then 2 days, right? Like it's like she hadn't missed as much time as she thought, and she was basically creating an idea around Ulankar with this weapon. This weapon became a material that no one understood, and it became sort of the basis of why houses and clans have. This is the object that, like, this is our proprietary thing. This is our thing that basically tells other people how much we're worth, because that was what the standard was. Like, she had something that was unobtainable. It was covetous, and so it put her into a position of power among her own clan, as well as all the information she had against these devils and these things that were trying to move into the material plane. So they built a thing that would help them. The original idea of the heist was to take the weapons or the materials from these extraplanar beings that are using it to control the material plane away from them. Essentially, take the weapons and use them against them. And that's what you learn from that section.
Well,
that takes you about 4 hours.
Excuse me, can I ask one more question?
Yes.
Have the Rulakan ever done the heist?
Well, yes. Many of the large major houses have indeed done the heists.
How many times have the Rulakan done it?
Not the most. I'm sorry, I'm not the most versed in this, but I understand it. They've attempted several times. Most houses, by this point, most major houses are within their 15th attempt, but the Rulakan have maybe succeeded about 5 times, which is on the upper echelon of success. These trips don't always come back with everything.
Well, when was the most recent one? What volume do you think would be best to start looking at?
No, that's mostly public record. I remember being I was fairly young when it happened, but I do remember it. I recall one of the last times the Rubicon, about a century ago, maybe a century and a half, somewhere around there.
Thank you. I'm going to. Do you know the name of the person who went on it last?
Well, yes, Philip Fraterfolder has attempted it currently. And
I apologize. I meant of the Rubicon, most recent Rubicon.
Oh, sorry. That would have been it. The name on that is Fitz.
Thank you. I would. I'll look
Fitz
for that.
Rubicon. I'm sorry if it didn't make
Oh,
sense.
I more or less assumed. Thank you. I'm going to look for that record now. Yeah, I'm gonna look for whatever I can find about Fitz Rubicon in the heist records.
Sure. It's gonna take you It's gonna take you the rest of the day, even like searching through this stuff, because it's very simple. It's about a 3-paragraph thing. It says Fitz Rubicon left with the favor of his own family and no one else. Came back with enough treasure and enough items to put the Rubicon into the 4 pillars. And the third thing that's listed is that Fitz was then not seen again for a while. Fitz left Rakia and is still in contact, I suppose. They say, like, is still in contact with the Rubicons, but has not returned to Rakia since.
Alright. Interesting. Okay. Yeah, if that's the rest of my day, there's more stuff I want to look up now. But if that's the rest of my day,
I'd say that's the rest of your day.
Yeah.
This is tough for you,
yeah,
specifically to try. But like it's also just like trying to find that specific thing was harder than the Hailwain historian. It was a long story. It was a long account because there was a lot of things to go through. But like this other one was you had to search for it. Okay. So, next up, as you sort of round out your evening and come back to the mansion, sort of like to process your thoughts, we switch over to Liam. As you went to sleep the night before and you have kind of had a nice, easy rest every now and then. I mean, these days are sort of passing by. You find yourself in a peculiar situation, and one that has happened previously. You sort of have this dream of touching material, of like a glowing heartbeat, almost sort of pulsing energy, and as you sort of wake up, you find yourself in the shop, in your forge, with another one of the sort of little holders in your hand. Sort of, you've spent the evening forging again.
Yay!
And interestingly, as the dawn comes, as you're holding it, it phases through your hands. And Sitlali, as you wake up to the morning light, you are again in a humanoid form.
Nameless.
Mainly just to tell you, yeah, you can dispel. You guys have days of travel, so I'm not necessarily needing you to count your spells right now, just because I don't expect any problems. but you're able to dispel it again. I'll say
What level did I have? I did last time at 4th level.
you did it at 5th last time.
And 6th.
Are we sure I didn't do it 6th and 5th?
You did.
Maybe it was 6th
Yes.
and 5th. Sorry, I did.
Yeah.
Okay, I just want to make sure so that like if I need a spell for any reason today, like I know which ones I used. Because I have it 6th
No
and
problem.
5th.
Yeah.
Cool.
All right,
You're welcome.
Thank you.
but the magic is dispelled. At this moment, that's twice that this has happened to you. That's 2 days in a row. Just ruminate on it. So you, through all of that, you know that part of your mission is to journey through the Underdark. And you have sort of figured there's one person you know who has lived there, who has gone through it. Good friend, Nerith. And you've made it to their shop towards the late evening of, in Sestet at least. Bottle of wine in your hand. And as you open the door, you see him. He's currently working on something, but he kind of just. It seems not particularly aggressively. Doesn't seem to be taking up a lot of his focus at the moment. Ah, Liam, hello.
Hello. How are you doing today?
Well, I'm fine. This is one of those rudimentary days, I guess you would say. It's sort of a wash. But learning is always fun. And,
Yeah. I've been, I actually was thinking about asking you about something. It won't surprise you at all to learn that me and the group are likely about to do something relatively stupid and very dangerous, potentially soon.
well, you are adventurers, yes? I mean,
Yeah.
it comes with the territory.
There is something that we are going to be doing shortly that I thought you might know a bit about, but I also know it's not something we've really talked about, and that could be intentional on your part. So if it's not something you're comfortable talking about, let me know. We have been sent out, well, along with getting Philip a new arm, which you're aware of, we are hoping to get him a new weapon as well. And we've been sent to get infernal steel from the Underdark.
There is a slight stiffening, but it doesn't seem cold. It's just sort of okay. And this is desperately important to you?
A bit, yes. We two members of our group are currently being hunted by a devil, and the best way to help deal with that would be with a infernal steel. Or we want to make sure we're well prepared. I don't know the infernal steel thing yet. We want to be well prepared, and the weapon, not Philip. We went to the Hell Pikes and asked what they would like to make. Was Philip's idea. They sent us out for infernal steel, and none of us have any experience with the Underdark.
And so make me a persuasion check. with advantage.
Because of
You
the
brought
wine.
Brought a gift, so
Hey.
18.
he sort of reaches for the bottle, takes it, uncorks it, and takes one of those like goldfish bowl glasses and just kind of pours about half of the bottle into it and then sets it next to you. You know, it's been a long time since I've been there. It could be a very different world. Especially the way we left. The Underdark is expensive. If you feel that the upper world is large, wait till you see the Underdark. The maze of tunnels could allow you to journey from Farah to Sisted. If you found the right ones. And if you find the wrong ones. My people are not the dangers of the Underdark. My people survived and fought for what they had. Yes. And that is why they are slow to trust. Because none was ever given to them. So if you're going down there, the best advice I can give you is make sure you at least have a pocket of a place that you would like to go to that either for sure or most likely has some sort of city or some sort of life, civilized life, because you will not find much of it down there. Also bring coat, it's cold. You can get cold down there.
Thank you.
I mean, what else would you... How are you even planning to... It's there are not many pockets that that move through into the Underdark. It's hidden and safe for all reasons.
We've heard of some kind of operation in regards to mining, I believe led by the Rubicon clan. Something and who we don't necessarily get along with, but we're planning to see if we could use that connection, or that at least find out how they're operating or attempting to get the infernal steel, and either offering aid to them in hopes of being able to get some of the steel for ourselves, or we haven't, plans, not our strong suit. But that's the info we have so far.
Where's this mine?
South Jordania.
Yes. there's something down there. Yes. There should be. I believe you'll be talking about the city of Drummer. And I can type that to you.
Thanks.
City of Drummer. It was a Duergar stronghold. But much of the Underdark, again, by the time my brother and I left, was changing vastly. Before that, there was much more segregation of culture, where everyone had their own pockets. By around a decade or two before we left, there was a decision to band together, and so there were larger sort of cityscapes allowed for, and that does sound like one of them. So I would expect Drow, Svilbaum, and Duergar to be communing in that way.
Right. All right.
Just it's the creatures, it's the denizens of the deep that you must watch out for. And I'm not saying do not watch out for the people of the Underdark. They are much like the people up here. They are, some are cunning, some are kind. My brother being such an example. You know, it's part of how we escaped. It's part of how we broke our chains and ascended. So, he sort of looks to the sword on the wall and says, "By the grace of Fane." It just depends on what you want to do and how you would. Not because I don't trust, but because of what you speak of. I wouldn't tell anyone down there what you are really looking for. I would bury that secret from people here, even. I wouldn't let anyone know. That's
All right.
I've read about what you talk about, but I have never seen it, experienced it. That is a covetous metal, and I would be very, very careful.
According to the Hellpike Smith we are talking to, it's also very hard to work with. He said that we would need to be using these to do it. So should be interesting. Have you ever? How much experience do you have with the Mere Stones? I know you have a past of doing more exploratory style experiment stuff back in the day with Yvonne and them. Did you ever do any direct dealings with the Mere Stone? I have an unrelated thing that's kind of happening that I'm a little worried about.
No dealings, no. I knew that it was Yvonne and Moral's goals is to, in some way, they would be able to tell you more, I'm sure, if they felt so inclined. And I would not want to speak someone else's story, but it's
Right.
the chief reason that I even met Yvonne in the first place, was sometime after I broke free, wandering, lost in Alolia, just attempting to find something. She saw the work I was doing and decided I would be helpful to her mission. And she was correct. We learned a lot. She was able to triangulate positions of higher concentrations of lodestones, but I never experienced the actual... I never experienced it fully. I never realized what we were doing until her accident. And upon learning that and the nature of the power that she was looking for, I decided to quit and come here. I have lived with power over me, and that's all it seemed like to me. So, to answer your question, well, the first part of your question, I'd much like to help you, but I have no interest in the millstones. They seem to hold only chaotic drive to me. From
That's
people.
my experience as well. Yeah.
What do you mean?
Oh, just a lot of... It is a bit... it can be a bit like a single-minded child talking to one. They have a... Or, yeah, some... hyperfixating in youth, basically. They'll have a goal or a job or a perceived purpose, and that's all they seem to really focus on in a way that lacks depth of personality at times. But it's very scary in the hands of something as powerful as Mirrorstone. So, yeah. So you're smarter than me. We knew that already, but just confirming you're smarter than me to not be dealing with them regularly.
He kind of like puts his hand on your hand and he just says, "Not smarter. Just more wounded."
Well, give me time.
You're catching up.
God, I need one of those glasses too.
Okay.
I just grabbed the bottle.
He's like,
Start drinking out of the
he
bottle.
Like starts to reach
Oh.
back and he's like, "No, please continue. It's fine." He says, "But I wouldn't know how to speak on it."
You helped anyway. Actually, I obviously Yvonne is around and hasn't. I haven't directly asked, but you know Yvonne is. Oftentimes, withholding is the wrong word, but like withholding. But it hadn't even crossed my mind that Moral might have had some experience like this, or similar, or have knowledge, and I wouldn't have thought to potentially reach out and ask.
Yeah, they have.
Which I probably won't do myself, but I know someone who I might ask to chat.
It's part of the Moral has a oath, a thing, a promise to the world, to themselves, to their teacher, to a lot of things that they must uphold and keep. And in that I am very... I admire it. The dedication to a cause or to a person or ideal. I find myself in a weaker state. I don't want an ideal. I don't want a cause. I was enslaved to a cause, to an idea. I would much rather just live in the world. I would much rather help and take care of it as I can.
What's the Lorethian equivalent of mood?
Mood. But with like a umlaut U.
Yeah. Mood.
Yeah, mood.
Mood.
There's probably a Y in there too, just like inexplicably.
Yeah. I think that's all the pertinent conversation I have, so we can...
Cool. The conversation kind of continues to flow, and it's... From there, I think it's you guys kind of toying with the creation he's messing with. He's trying to find a way to purify water simply through the act of
Boiling it.
basically, like, but boiling it with a small stone, like a concentrated boil that doesn't lose material. It's not working out really well. He doesn't think it's going to work, but he's it's more of like, this is a day to mess around, and I just wanted to see if it's possible to not lose more water when you're purifying it. And he's like, yeah, I don't know if it's going to work. So it would basically be you two kind of working that out and seeing if there's any sort of solution. Next up, we go to Nameless.
No.
Oh no, I can go. Okay, we can go to Setlali. So Setlali.
I'm just reviewing something really quick.
Yeah, that's fine. Setlali, we'll go to you, unless you're reviewing something as well.
No.
Okay.
Nope, let's do this.
Run to the little
Go.
boys' room.
Get. So, after your morning of waking up as a human and sort of like coming back to yourself, you have a morning with the kids, right? This is a sort of a time for you to dote on them, and you do have days, and that's kind of what you've planned for your week. You're like, you know what, I need to. Your first thought is, I just need to spend some time with them. We've been gone so often, and so this is your moments, right? These are the moments that you can take to actually spend
Teach them
with
how
them.
to fight.
Teach them how to fight. Teach them literacy and teaching them. I mean, people. One of them, oh my God, Webster. Webster is a learned reader. But the other ones are, Zeus is like having a little bit of trouble. So it's about teaching him ways to calm himself while he's getting frustrated trying to read something out. And it's that nature of sort of home life and a thing that arguably they would have experienced in a different way, or would have experienced in sort of a more controlled environment. And there's this feeling by the end of some of these days that you're spending with them that you're realizing that they are wholly their own individual thing. Whatever experience they would have had living with the kobolds is... You can't tell if it would have been different or if it would have been just more pronounced. This leads to this inner sort of feeling, what is going to happen if I'm gone? And there's a couple of solutions in your head. There's the idea, well, there is a section in town of Sested that does have kobolds, and they could be reintroduced there. You're finding out that they're growing fast. They probably by the end of summer they'll probably be pretty close to adulthood, or at least in the sense of like
they grow up so fast.
They do. They seem to have a really short childhood, and so it's not that your time is running out, but the time is flying, and it kind of leads you to Moral's shop. Was this? I'm sorry, I meant
Yes.
you wanted to go to Moral. It
Yeah.
leads you to Moral's shop. There's sort of a burning question for you as you talk to the front desk, and she leads you up, and Moral sits there, and they're in they are in this kind of tight-fitting lapel 3-button suit, and they got like this like big flared out pants, and just it's this the lapels then like spike out, and it's this beautiful sort of peacock design of what do they call it, the fleur de lis, like the floor
The fleur de lis?
yes, the fleur de lis, like this kind of like
France?
peacock design fleur de lis all over the suit. So it's these greens, blues, these very striking, and their hair is matching the actual outfit itself. It's got these sort of like magenta roots that ombre into this like seafoam green and blues towards the tips as you walk in the door. You see. Oh, well, said Lolly, how is it going today? I really didn't think I would see you today. Or any day, I suppose. But I'm sorry. I'm just in a wonderful mood. Why don't you sit down with me? We'll share lunch.
Yeah. So we ended up in the Tower of Blight.
Oh, wow.
I don't remember. Yeah. And we found this one room. I'm sorry to just not ask how you're doing, but this is kind of
Well, it seems like you have something
important.
important to tell me, so why don't we just skip it and skip niceties and everything?
So one of the rooms had this deck of cards. And
Did
one
you
of the cards that
Play with this deck of cards.
we did, we had to in order to leave the room. And one of the cards that I picked, I have a devil that's
I see.
trying to kill me.
And you must kill them or be killed. Yes.
Mm-hmm. And as much as I would like to think that we can kill them, I do have children at home that I need to worry about. And other than the three of them, you are my closest friend. And I was wondering if it doesn't work out.
They sort of just reach out and, my dear Setlali, the favor you ask of is so infinitely easy. I'm very wealthy.
That's not why I asked.
Oh, no, I'm saying I'm very wealthy. That would be so easy. Taking care of 7... You said they were kobolds?
They are, but they're almost adults, so
Oh,
it'll be like nothing.
You've talked of them before. One of our lunches, I believe you mentioned them. And they're just... It's entirely fascinating to me that I would be even remotely close to a choice. And I've always wanted to be a parent. But I never wanted the baby part. That seems disgusting. So honestly, this works out for me. So please go ahead and die, because I would love to take care of your children.
Yeah, I'll see what I can do.
And if you don't, then fine, I guess. We can continue to be friends.
I'll bring them around. Maybe you could babysit them sometime.
Well, let's take it one step at a time. Taking over as a parent because of death is a nice little responsibility. Babysitting is sort of... How much are you going to offer me is really... Yes.
I'd have to check my bank account.
I mean, you'll have to check your pockets because this, whatever this is it's the same outfit you've worn for the past year.
I only have a dress. That's about it.
You're like, I have one extra piece of clothing, please. Well, in all seriousness, if you are fighting a devil, what does your heart tell you about your friends?
It tells me they're going to help me and make sure there's no way that I die.
Good. A lesson I learned in life. Was when you don't allow someone to help you, or you don't see when the people who are most important to you don't receive your help, you can lose them in more ways than one. There are many things I regret with my sister. But I think the chief one among them is the idea that I will never understand, I will never know how I will never know how to be there for them again. Not because I don't want to, because they won't believe it. And that's not on you, it's not anything to fix. I'm blessed with a long life, perhaps she and I will fix something at some point, but the point is, working together is about understanding and listening and knowing that there are things that you don't know, and there are things that you do. Trust them in the things that you don't, and trust that they were there to make it better. I am sorry. This is hard to be nice. But I want to be nice to you. Because you see them kind of like look down the stairs for a second. You're one of my only friends too. And one of them is a badger, and he's not that nice.
Oh my god. Is it the... Is he a bronze wolf?
What? No. He lives down the street. His name is Terry, and he's the worst.
Okay, sorry.
But God, he
Sorry.
makes a really good stew, and I can't live without it. He's a very interesting creature. You must talk to him sometime. He used to be a dwarf. He got turned into a badger. It's a long story, and it's a very entertaining one. But the point is, yes, I will help you.
Thank you.
Sorry, it was Miles's
and-
reaction. I'm sorry.
As for the sister thing, as someone who cannot speak to their sibling anymore, it's never too late to try. And I know that's scary, and I'm not saying it has to be done right away. But if I had the chance to talk to my brother again, I would.
I just don't have the right outfit.
I have a feeling that she will love you no matter what you're wearing, even if you're wearing this. Because she's seen me in this for a very long time and she still talks to me.
Would you like to get some stew? And
Yeah.
they step up and they take you to Terry the Badgers. And from there, we skip over to Nameless, who has now had enough time to deliberate what her thoughts were, I assume.
We'll find out. Because I have like 4 ideas, and I'm just like, what is the most logical? But here we go. So the first thing that I want to do is I want to go to the mirror.
Mm-hmm. Cheese.
Okay.
Produce cheese. Produce cheese.
Yeah.
I bring out some cheese.
Mm-hmm.
And I say, oh my god, why am I so bad at these rhymes? I'd like to speak to Talia at this times.
Oh, that was the thing. Why am I bad at these rhymes? I'd like to speak to Talia in these times. Was the rhyme? Gotcha.
Please.
No, you did it. You got it. As the little slot comes out, as you press the cheese in, there's a second time that it slots out, and there's this little tiny note. It's like almost. It's so small. It's so small. You have to magnifying glass to even read it, and it just says, "Thank you for the cheese. Thank you for all of the cheese that you've given me over these past few months. Just a note. I do like things other than cheese." This is not an admonition. This is not admonishing your cheese giving. More to say, I do have simple tastes, but there is more than cheese. It goes onto the back. He's like, and furthermore, just so you know, the rhyming thing, while fun, is actually not necessary to power the machine. It really is just I like rhymes. So if you don't feel comfortable doing it, you can just tell me a name and we'll see if we can get it done. As the mirror, so you're trying to talk to.
According to the appendix, which I have been perusing for the last 20 minutes, she is a cleric for the droplets of Saloon.
Talia.
Man.
Yes.
She was the cat person.
She was the tabaxi.
Yeah, she's the tabaxi.
Yeah.
Yep. I was just making sure that that was who you were meaning.
That's what I'm trying.
As the mirror sort of, you see the sort of darkened fur with very, very small highlights, kind of like she's close to a Tory, so she kind of looks like Sally in some ways, but just there's more.
She's
there's
close
more.
To 40. She's pushing 40. And
Yeah. That's how she looks. But as it opens, she seems to be currently on in a seat on a wagon, and she is woken up by your call. Hello.
Hello. Hi. Good morning. Or night. I don't know what time it is wherever you are.
It's
I-
just becoming dusk.
Okay. Good dusk. I was curious if you could answer a few questions for me. Because we helped you. And maybe you remember the person who was kind of hiding their face from you the whole time, said Lolly.
This is not the first time I have been summoned in this way. So, yes, I would happily help you.
Thank you. Well, said Lolly. Well, we all have to deal with the devil. And if I remember correctly, you're a cleric.
I
And
am?
I was curious how I could talk to, I don't know if I can, but an angel.
Well, that is difficult. The gods themselves, much like Saloon, aren't entirely vocal. They choose their ways carefully, and in your case, speaking to a lesser celestial, I'm not certain if they would have the power to do so outside of conjuring one.
So, actually, that was my next question. How do I do that? I can conjure the fae, and I can conjure animals, and I can conjure elementals. So I can conjure a lot of things. But unfortunately, I cannot conjure those.
Even in my experience, I have only read of the operations to which you speak of. I am not practiced enough in magic to be able to do something like this. I would imagine someone of great skill would have a better opportunity, but what I know is it's similar to trying to connect in much the same way that we are here. I would doubt that you would be able to use this to do so, but whatever method you're using to contact me now, I doubt you would be able to with a celestial, but it's along a similar principle.
So if I make a rhyme to them, they'll come?
I have no clue. That might work for a person. I'm not certain how you called me.
We have a mirror. But let's say I have a room that sometimes people talk to gods in. Do you think... Does it have to be someone who's really, good with the gods?
I don't suppose.
I don't know much about them.
I don't suppose it is necessarily, but again, theoretically, the power with which it is to communicate between the outer planes and here is immense, and a lesser celestial that's not a god, if they are to communicate, they would speak through that power. They wouldn't be able to do it just themselves. I'm sorry if this is not helpful. It's just as much as I know of the outer planes and speak. Saloon herself has only spoken to me through dream. It's how we move from place to place. She divines our next location, and I follow suit.
Okay.
I suppose my question to you Are you seeking a conversation or are you seeking guidance?
Well, in an ideal world, I'd have someone fight with me. But I guess currently I just would like a conversation.
In that, I would speak to... I haven't heard of such a thing. I've heard of communing with the gods and spirits, so perhaps there's a variation of that could commune with lesser celestials, but I don't know.
And do you think if I had an elk celestial, they would help me?
I would hope if they were any sort of friend to you. And your friends.
Okay. This was not very much help, but thank you for taking my call.
Thank you for waking me up.
You're welcome. Good night.
Let's... Sure.
I don't know what time they go to sleep. We don't go to sleep at normal time. Then...
Another relationship.
What do you mean ruined? How dare you? I am charismatic. Okay, so then I have another question that I genuinely try to research.
Yeah.
What is the... Oh my gosh. What, first of all, is the phase of the moon? And then secondly, what astrology sign are we currently under?
Okay, one moment.
These guys got these this secret astrology chat going on all the time now.
I'm just, maybe they're more communicative during those times, you know?
That's a good point. Maybe
Right.
maybe during certain times of the stars, certain gods are easier to reach or something.
So currently, the moon is in its it's in the waning phase.
Both of them? Are they wane at the same time, I assume?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
They're not far away from each other, right? Like the second moon is smaller than the first, but they share a similar axis.
Okay. So, okay. That.
So for the purpose,
unfortunately
so for the purposes of this magic item, consider that they it's you're taking the effect of the quote unquote the bigger moon. That's kind of how I'm working it. Is that when that is waning, that's when that effect is happening to you.
Oh no! It's because I was looking at the astrology thing, and it says that there was the double full moon. So I was hoping that maybe that's what was happening. But okay. And then what was the astrology sign?
Let's see. You guys are in. I have to open up the. Give me a moment. Calendar.
The star chart.
Oh, also to your question from. Oh my god, almost at 1 o'clock. I didn't see these, I'm so sorry.
Oh, it's fine. This is what, I mean, I went and did it anyways.
Okay. The answer to that question in particular was yeah, he would.
Oh, well, I would just talk to him then, but oh well.
So you guys are currently in towards the end of Oh wow! Now you guys are in summer. That's right, and oh, that's not what I wanted.
No, I was hoping. Yeah, I wasn't. But what is? Continue.
Thank you. I will. Currently,
Good luck.
You guys would be under the Pardon me. Where is it? Ah, there it is. Yep, you guys are under what looks like the Epitus sign.
Okay.
The mark of the coin.
Okay. Shoot, I know nothing about that person. Okay. Poop. Alright, well, that didn't do me good. Thank you for that. I guess then... This is just like day one, or is this like everything we're doing over the course of the
This is kind of like you guys have more of a loose time schedule because one of you has to do a task, but like this is your week. Yeah.
Okay. Because then what I'd want to do during the rest of the week is kind of just research more about like about angels, about any like maybe like fallen angels who maybe they like live on the material plane. I don't know if that's a thing that exists. And then I also want to research more about Palos Quill and why the heck they are now where they should be. Well, I mean, they can be there, but like they shouldn't be there. They should be in that city with the big bomb thing that went off. Tank.
Go ahead and roll me 2 different investigation checks. These will basically...
Wait.
I'd say, depending on these, this is going to tell you how much time it took you, but also how successful you are.
Okay. Unfortunately, I did. Apparently lose my shit, but... Okay. Investigation number 1 is a 14.
Okay.
Investigation number 2 is a 20.
Natural?
No. I just was gonna leave that part out.
So, on your first investigation against the angels, demons, fallen angels, that kind of stuff, in your library in the mansion, there are books against the extraplanar sort of creatures and extraplanar travel and that kind of stuff. And you find out a little bit more about that.
Okay.
Sort of saying, like, yeah, travel is pretty, even to the elemental planes, is pretty restricted. It's fairly difficult to do. Interestingly, this book is written by Dracarius, by the way. You do find that, like, he does kind of talk about, like, the nature of what it takes to split the dimension into other planes, and sort of like the power output that's necessary. And it theorizes that you would have to have a sufficient power source, something that would generate a constant field to be able to actually do so in any competent manner.
Like astral projection? Not like this form of astral projection, but like Sabrina astral projection, where it's like I'm here, but I project myself to their plane, or like I'm actually physically traveling to their plane?
Physically traveling. That's what he's theorizing. It's like to physically travel to a different plane, it would take an amount of energy that would be pretty excessive, or it would be a high, and like he's saying that like he's able to project, and that even that though is a high level form of magic. To be able to separate that kind of stuff is very, very difficult, and it's also very dangerous. So a lot of that. In regards to explainer creatures, he kind of talks about how the makeup of the outer planes is more of a makeup of energy. Even those that ascend to godhood, the reason that they leave their mortality behind is because they become a part of existing. They just exist as this thing now. They're not tethered to a biological standard. They're not tied to matter in the same way. But what that also means is they are more susceptible to it's why the theory goes that, like, yeah, you have to kill a devil on its home plane, or celestial, or anything on its home plane, because unless you do, it just transfers itself back there. It just goes back to this land that it was from, and it has, once it hits the material plane, it's just a vessel at that point. It's an avatar of them. So, in terms of communicating or the like, he speaks on it, and it's more of a dismissive, like, why would you even want to talk to these creatures? They don't care about us. They don't have any thoughts on us other than, how do we serve them? How do we serve their wars? There's a line in there.
Angels or the devils?
Both. Just saying it's saying extraplanar creatures. What do they care for us on the material plane? And there's a line in there that even talks about, it's like, even the great king. Even the platinum king does not think of mortal life in any sort of glowing praise. It's a position of protection and wanting to cultivate, but it's still selfish. And there's this ending theory that it's just sort of like, no matter what they have achieved and become, first and foremost, they are still people. And people have agendas. And that's kind of the best you have. You don't get any, like, theories or speculations of, like, how to just, like, commune. It's more just that. And for your second question, which was, oh my god, why did I just blank on it? Remind me again. You were asking about,
like, why Palos Quill is... Yeah.
You have to leave the mansion for this, and you have to go to Sested to basically find any sort of account of foreign material. And there are a few passages that you've read on, like, other countries' royalty, or nobility at least, people of higher positions. And currently, Pelos Quill is listed as the the Archduke of Dunmore. What the Archduke is in charge of, right? Like, through this book, you're able to realize that, like, no, this person, if he is in the southeastern region of Jortenia, which is Dunmore, it's because it's his home. Not only is it his home, he owns the mine. He owns the surrounding land. He owns a huge swath of southern Jortenia. So if he was in Perona for that time, he was there because it was an important deal or something like that, right? Like, you can kind of work up the assumption that, like, whatever reason he was in Perona, it's not because he needed to stay there. It was because it was time sensitive. His home is the southeastern region of Jortenia. His domain is the southeastern region of Jortenia. He's one of the richest people in Jortenia because of his mining operations.
And doesn't say anything about him dying or
Nope.
a tragic
No record
mining
of,
accident happening.
There's no tragic mining accident. There's nothing that's like, and he was supposed dead or anything. He did have an injury upon one of the, like, there is an account of one of the mines having sort of a, not a leak, but, like, not even an avalanche, not like a cave-in or anything. It was a workplace thing that did cause some people to get hurt, including himself, but by the end of it, everything was fine. notably, the dates kind of match up to when Dr. Quill was saying that he got a letter saying he died.
Conspiracy.
And as you come back from Sised, you see Setlali and Moral eating stew?
With a badger?
Oh, hey. Oh.
What? Sorry, are there any
badger.
other... Are there any other...
No. I can't think... Not that I feel like I can do right now. I feel like I need more information from everybody else.
Sure. So, the last thing that we will be doing before the break. Miles, do you want to go ahead and tell me your rolls?
We're rolling for arm.
Yeah.
Here comes the arm. You need 4 of these?
Three.
Here comes the arm.
3.
Here comes.
I was
Right,
assuming that
right,
you were...
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, because Vaughn can help me out. That is 25.
This is without Flash of Genius, too, yeah?
18.
Okay.
And then one more.
Mm-hmm.
And 23.
Very nice.
This is what I'm good at, so.
Yeah.
You're like, I rolled an 18. I get a plus 12. So, good to know. Good to know. Those are the rules. All right. With that, we will be taking our break. So, we'll be back here in just a little bit. We'll come back fierce and strong to kind of cultivate all of this information and make the next trek as I'll kind of tell you how the house has been doing as you guys have been doing all this work as well. So, we'll see you here in a second. 3, 2. Are you okay?
I didn't think I started my recording for a second. I forgot doing it. I was like, oh no!
Like a heart palpitation. Like, welcome back, everybody, to The Natural Ones. We are here for our second half of episode 8. It's always easier after the break because we actually know what episode it is by that point.
I always know what episode it is.
I
always know what episode it is.
I would love to open you guys up to... I don't know.
See what's inside.
I mean, yes. Yes,
Little did we know.
That's what this whole campaign's been about, guys.
This is the
stripping
episode
you
where...
down to your bare bones person and building you back up, like peyote. So we're gonna open...
But physically.
We're gonna
I went to
open
Silence of the Lambs. I'm there now.
You guys are all reconvening. I'd say by this point, with all the activity you guys have done, it's the third day. The third day, as a note to you, Liam and Setlali, you have woken up with the same condition again. You are able to dispel it, but it is continuing to happen.
Yay!
I'd love to open you guys up to a breakfast of just kind of
Champions.
you guys reconvening if you guys would like to have a discussion. If not, we can push forward with some other activities. I just wanted to give you guys the opportunity.
Well, I have some chatting that I thought of that I immediately forgot as soon as you said that. Doop, 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 doop.
Yeah, I also have some stuff to say.
I believe the floor is open to you.
Okay. I have some good news and some bad news. Both of it's actually speculative, so it's less news and more editorial. You know how it was weird to realize that the devil was already on our plane? And we were worried about, now we'll have to, we beat it here, and then we have to go beat it on its own plane. I have reason to believe that this actually is its home plane. That infernal steel that we were supposed to go get to make the hell pike, it's not supposed to be here on this plane. The devils, the heist, the first time that the heist was done, the original hell pike was made to stop their plan of trying to get into this plane by using infernal steel to bind themselves to it. So, from my understanding, they have some way of making a body for themselves out of that steel. So instead of them just putting a vessel or some sort of abstract version of themselves in a different plane, they make a new body, and they're in that infernal steel body, and they're here with all their power. So, this might mean the fight could be harder than we expected. However, if this is true, then that means if we beat them here, we beat them for good.
What happens to their other body?
I think it doesn't exist anymore. I think they've given up that body to have a body here, more or less, like a real permanent body.
So it's not like the soul stone where it like traps their soul in there, but their body is...
I'm not sure. All I know is that their plan was to be able to control more planes than just the Hells, and so they needed a way to anchor themselves to those planes. So, if I'm right, and the Rubicon have been working with them to help them achieve this, then this devil that we're about to fight might be the first one that they've managed to do this with. Which just gives us even more reason to need to get rid of it. That said, it also means it might not be a regular devil. If it's made a body out of this steel, I don't know how that's going to affect it. Devils are already very hard to hurt. It's possible this steel would make it harder. Also, the steel that we're getting to make this weapon, its great advantage is that you don't need to kill something on its home plane with it in order to kill them for good.
So, if we got the pike first and we killed it with that, it wouldn't matter whether or not it's anchored to this plane. So even if your first hypothesis is wrong, if we kill it with the hell pike, that solves the issue both ways.
Yes. However, the more I'm seeing these, the more I'm seeing all these things along, the more I'm thinking that the reason the devil is there might be to stop people from getting into that mine. It's, we know the Rubicon are connected to it somehow. I was also wondering why. The Rubicon are very rich and very powerful, but nobody can really say what they do to have their power or their influence. Nobody can really point to it. They also, fairly recently, did the heist. They've had a higher success rate than most people with the heist. Curiously, finding information about what happened on those heists is fairly difficult. It's not very detailed. I think they're working with the devils to have their power and wealth. Yes.
I ended up speaking with Nerith a bit about the Underdark, and the main bit is we should probably not tell anyone what we are after. Apparently, trying to get infernal steel is something that's going to cause trouble for us. So we might need to make up a false pretense for going into the Underdark, and we might be on our own in terms of finding it.
Well, especially considering that infernal steel isn't supposed to exist here. Anybody who knows what it is anybody in the Underdark who would know what it is probably also in on whatever this plan is.
Well, the Hellpikes know, apparently, that there is some on this plane. I don't know how they got that information, but the Hellpikes are aware, so who knows who else is aware? But yeah.
He keeps quiet about most things. What I'd imagine is he's been looking into the Rubicon quietly for quite some time. He's probably aware of this plan. After all, the progenitor of his clan is the one who discovered this plan in the first place. It also means that the Underdark might be threatened by this as well. If the Devils are trying to make a place to operate out of here, and they choose the Underdark because it's out of the way, and they can build up forces in secret, that probably means the people who live in the Underdark are going to be threatened by them if it gets much further.
Nerith also suggested we at least start or try to start in a populated area of the Underdark, because it's the non-populated areas can be tremendously dangerous. The populated ones can as well, but that's any big city. We're inherently going to not be trusted, likely, but it's a city. Whereas the Underdark is a giant, world-spanning labyrinth of caves with, at times, horrifying monsters. So,
do we have any idea how to find a city at all? Or?
Nerith seemed to believe that the entrance that we're thinking about using, it might be near, was it Dwemer? No, that's the people. What was the city that he thought we might be entering near?
Demir.
Demir.
Yeah. Dhimir. Demir.
Okay. Demir might be near where we are entering. I don't know how that helps us, or if we don't really have a plan to get in past customs or whatever.
Well,
And I don't know that a musical performance is going to get us through the gates on this one.
Well, I also feel like if this is all true, we might experience more resistance than expected. But first we deal with the devil. I assume we're not going to be able to go very far in, if we can get in at all, without dealing with the devil.
It's fair. I can't help but feeling like we'd be better off if we could find a way to get the weapon made before we fight the devil. I know putting it off is the last thing we want to do, but
I guess my concern is if we go in, dealing with both the things in the Underdark and the devil at the same time seems like a lot. I don't know though. We still don't even know exactly where the devil is. It might be that it's inside the Underdark.
So, when I was a young girl thing,
I'm done. Sorry. Young girl thing was choice.
There was a place by a mining town, quarry kind of thing, by where I grew up. They reached the Underdark there.
huh.
Well, that seems like and this is in southern Britannia.
Yes.
Well, that seems like a good place to start. Are we?
I would prefer to not go there, though, if possible, because,
Well,
you know, memories, but if we have to.
well, maybe we keep following the trail of this devil and we see if that's where it ends up taking us. If it ends up taking us somewhere else, then it might be a different mine altogether. But I'd wager that this devil is going to be around the mine that we need to go to.
Well, you can't just mine the stuff
As far
all
as
the time and anywhere.
no, this steel that we're going for, it isn't supposed to exist on this plane. So it's part of the devil's plan to be able to invade the material plane, basically. So wherever this devil is, I'm pretty sure the devil is supposed to be guarding where they actually have the steel. So
You don't think like we could go through a different end if that's the case?
we could try to go in a different way and go through the Underdark to find it, but it would be very
The Underdark.
difficult.
Yeah, entrances to the Underdark are relatively hidden, kept secret. They don't want it very publicly known. Also, the Underdark itself is very difficult to navigate. It's giant network of mazes. You could walk from one end of the world to the other in them if you knew the right way, but that's just millions of branching paths to get lost, ambushed.
Especially if there's a devil down there.
Well, I mean, we could go try the one. I think they're probably the same, but I know the one. I don't know it, like I didn't go there, but I know of it. It's how I learned to speak Undercommon.
You can speak Undercommon?
I'm pretty fluent in it, yeah.
That'll be very useful, actually.
Well, you have the Google Translate down there.
What?
I forgot what the other translator was, and I just call it Google. But I'm referring to Set Lolly.
Oh, okay. I think I might also have comprehend
Speak that,
languages.
though.
You can't.
No.
Undercommon is a very specific language.
Well, I mean, just double check your abilities at Lolly.
Not yet.
Is that next level?
It's 13th level.
Okay.
I wish it was this level.
Well,
My goodness.
if you can point on a map to where this is, maybe we can see if Set Lolly's feeling the devil around the same area. Okay.
Do you have a map?
We have one in the engine room.
I don't really... Can we have a paper one, perhaps?
Yeah, I'm sure we have a paper map somewhere in the library. Probably a lot.
Yes, there
I'd
are.
like...
There's an atlas.
I assume I can do that, so I do it.
Well,
You have an excellent memory for geography.
I know. I probably can't get lost in the Underdark because I have such exceptional memory for geography.
Right.
But that's okay, you know.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a while since you've thought about this location.
Yeah, that's why I'm not sure if I can generally.
It's not. Yeah, it's not. You can get around the area. You're like, I know it is here, like, and you would gauge probably about a 5-mile radius of knowing about this area. Your village wasn't that large, but it was sizable enough to be like a town, right? Like it was starting to be something. So and the quarry wasn't far from that. So that's kind of why you're like it would be around this direction.
This is just because I would like to know, on the map, is it more like where like the little river goes in or the ocean goes in, or is it more like the inlet kind of thing? Or is it like the middle bar? Because I'm not seeing it on the appendix, so I wasn't sure if there was like a body of water or anything nearby that would help me know that.
Right. I didn't put it on the appendix
Correct.
because of
Secret.
but yeah, it would be closer to. So it's closer to like this side. Like, right.
Oh, so it is by like the water area.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's still close to the water.
Okay.
But it's still inland of it, but it's close.
Cool. So I point there. It's around here.
All right. Let's see if that's where the. Let's see if that feels like where the devil is. Vaguely
Go ahead.
direction-wise.
I try again? Or do I...
You don't feel a constant tether, so you would have to try again to concentrate and figure that out.
Alright, I try again.
Go and give me a wisdom ability check.
Oh, God. Yay! That's a good number. 21.
21. Relaxing, feeling the energy around you. You feel your friends right next to you, and you feel the pulse going towards the south. This has been a couple of days since you guys have started your journey. The house has moved through forests and meadows and some rolling hills, but most of Jortania is a kind of wetland, but not like marshland, but just sort of, it is a much greener sort of landscape than others. And as you guys have been moving southward, you're getting into more humid territories, and so you're getting a lot more like cypresses and that kind of stuff. And as you push through, it does feel... You can't get like a ping, like a precise ping, but you can feel it strongly where you would put that marking. Somewhere close to that.
And I relay that to the group.
Can you go ahead and make me a Constitution saving throw?
+4. +4, I'm right there.
Then +4. 23.
Okay. You feel the tether drop.
I hate doing this.
Doesn't seem right.
Yeah, it does.
All right. Well, sure does seem like a lot of things coming together.
You said this thing's body's made out of infernal steel?
I wouldn't be surprised. I don't know what that... The plan was to use the steel to create a body that would anchor them on this plane.
If we can kill it, might solve another one of our problems.
We may be able to just use the steel from its body.
Salvage from its body. Obviously, who knows if it'll work out, but it's a possibility at least.
Yeah. I still wouldn't want to leave the other steel down there, just because that means we might deal with another devil.
Yeah, but yeah. But it'd be maybe easier to get down there once we have the weapon. If this stuff's hard enough that it needs my hammers to break it, means we might need we'll need specialty equipment to try and remove it potentially.
I'm assuming that's why they haven't gone further with their plan yet. The story goes that they needed Eliana's help in order to even make the first Hell Pike. It's possible they don't have the knowledge or the tools to be able to actually make these weapons. But it seems they figured out how to use it to make a body. Unless I'm wrong. Which has happened before.
Just realized I only get 8 uses of my spell storing wand
Wow.
No, it dropped down
per
from
day.
10.
Dropped down from 10 to 8. It's like I'm not even an artificer anymore.
As far as plans go, I'm gonna be able to occupy it for quite a while. I think we just need to hit it as hard as we can, as quickly as we can. The less we let it do, the more likely we come out on top.
If its body's this steel and my hammers can damage the steel, that's something. But it being a devil, I think our most effective physical weapon is probably Setloli's sword.
Generally speaking, radiant damage is good.
Yeah. That's a Setloli specialty there.
It's why I think I'll be okay for the most part as well. I'm also able to call on ROI's assistance to give me an edge in the fight. So I'll try to lock it down, stop it from coming after you directly, but odds are it's still going to be able to cast some spells or do some other things at range, so we'll need to be careful. Also, this thing is pretty good. And I hold up the pick that I got from Hellpike. I've been messing around with it, and it's nice. I can hang on a second. Just gonna. Where are we right now? Are we in the library?
Yeah, most likely.
All right, I'm gonna. Is there a window?
You could go up to the training room.
No, but I don't want to leave the. I don't want to take everything. Is there a window in the library?
Yes.
I'm just gonna through the window, just Eldritch blast out the window.
It's from the actual the pickaxe itself.
Oh yeah, that yeah.
So
just Eldritch blast out the window.
2 force blasts exude from the pickaxe.
I hope the window was open.
It wasn't.
Oh
No,
well.
it was open.
Oh, I genuinely wasn't thinking it was. I thought it was a stained glass window, and I was like, that sucks.
Just a really nice ornate window.
I was like,
so that'll be helpful. Outside of that, I think finding out who might be working with the Rubicon to run this mine.
well, I know that Palos Quill, I did research on him, and he owns a lot of mines and a lot of Drotania down there. Well, a lot of the down... I can't fix it.
The down under.
Didn't you?
Yeah.
Didn't you see him with Arwen?
I didn't. But yeah.
Oh, it wasn't shared information.
You technically haven't asked in character, so I'm just answering in
Oh.
character. I didn't.
Okay, I'm not gonna. Right, that's not information we actually know. Never mind then.
No, it is.
I thought we did. Yeah, I thought
You
you
do. You didn't
Who's
ask. I'm just saying you haven't
Jesus.
asked in character. So I
Oh.
was like, I'm answering in character.
Oh, I thought I was doing the voice. What?
Oh, it sounded like that to me. Sorry.
Oh, it's okay. I'm just really bad at the voice. I don't have a very deep voice.
Which is really funny in context of Philip doing his other voice.
It's how I'm trying to justify it.
It was Kalenth told me.
And Palos Quill is supposed to be dead.
Well, only one person thinks they're dead. Their family. But other than that, I mean, I looked it up and there was no record of Palos dying, so I don't know. I feel like it would have been a moderately big story. Like, maybe a procession, headlines, pictures, art.
It's definitely shady. I wouldn't be surprised if they were connected to all this. Which would mean that Arwen's possibly connected to all this too.
I would not put it past her.
I mean, we've seen her try to start wars on both continents now.
She didn't just try.
She succeeded in one case, yeah. What does she want?
I don't even know who she is anymore.
Do we have anything else, or should we get back to work?
Not that I don't mind using 2 of my spells on you guys, but do you have any idea when that's gonna end?
My current guess is it's based on how many questions we asked. That seems to be important. The 2 theories I have in my head are either the strength of the effect being put on us was based on the number of spells or number of questions, or the amount of time it'll be is based on the number of questions. I'm hoping it's the latter, but there's not really. I haven't thought of a good way to test it other than wait until the 3rd or 4th day. I don't remember how many questions I asked. 5. Great. Love that.
I would like to have my spells, but obviously we need your hammers.
Sorry.
Set Lolly, when you become not Set Lolly looking anymore, do you have all of your other... Can you still fight? Have you tried?
Yeah, I would say just let me stay the same until we figure it out.
Well, do you know how that only affects your looks? Because it literally makes Liam pretty...
It makes me a tiny less powerful, but it can't really affect any of my monk abilities.
Do we know if it...
I know of.
Do we know if it's going to stay permanent if we leave it alone?
We know very, very little.
And I can't go ask the stone because then I will owe it something. So,
all right.
Yeah, just don't worry about me for a bit, because I'll be fine. Hopefully.
I mean, I can do it while we're traveling. I have no great need for spells, but I feel like maybe having some higher magic when we go to fight a devil might be helpful. So I can do it until we get there. How far away are we? How is the house doing?
It's
probably a couple days.
Yeah, still a few days. Still a few days travel.
Oh, I thought you said you were going to talk about the house. I was trying to segue for you.
Oh, okay. Well, I talked about the house. I talked how it moved through the meadows and how it's been journeying southward. It has it's a little bit of a precarious journey because you guys are having to, as it moves, and you guys kind of look out, or Yvonne's on lookout, or any of the kids are on lookout. You guys have to do your best to avoid towns along the road. And so there are moments where you've had to kind of snake around a mountain or a hillside. You're not certain because of this southward journey how subtle you're being. Not to say that you guys, I'm of the mind that you guys aren't trying as usual. You guys aren't trying to be seen. But unfortunately, as you drift southward, you're trying to keep towards forests and larger structures that could help you hide the house, but you're finding less towards the middle of Jortenia. So it's like around this time you're having less spots to hide in, so it's much more about we just got to keep chugging our way quicker as the house kind of powers through and moves through the wetlands and the meadows and the more rolling hills or open fields of Jortenia.
Well, you've got an arm to work on. I've gotten the plans by now, yeah?
Oh, yeah.
Tyler?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, is there anything I can help with that, or...
You know,
I'm gonna hold something, or...
should be alright. Just don't go losing any more of it, and should all fit alright. Work great.
Alright. Well, I guess I'll be over here.
Did people have something that they wanted to do outside of the arm?
No, actually, the conversation kind of undid the thing I was planning on doing.
Okay.
I'm good.
All right. So,
Jesse,
sorry, Nameless. Sorry, I didn't see your hand. The mic was in the way.
Okay. I want to try to do remembrance on Arwen and Palos Quill meeting.
Okay. Give me one moment.
You one moment to figure out what that scene was.
Boy. Okay. So as you sit and sort of concentrate on pushing forward this like chronomantic energy, this gravitational divide into the past, you come into a moment. Observation. There is a desk. Sitting on one side of it is Arwen. She looks the same, but gone is any sort of like druid garb, and in its place is a kind of well-kept, noble attire. You would say that as such, anyway. You would see it as a sort of noble air. On the opposite side sits a wood elf, very similar in appearance to Dr. Quill, but only in that way that, like, yeah, sometimes families share traits. No distinct markers or anything, like, oh, that looks exactly the same. It's like, no, it's just, you can kind of tell hints of a raised eyebrow that you saw him do, and it's like, oh yeah, that's very similar. And as he sits there and he's kind of leaning forward on his desk, he speaks to Arwen saying, well, I have to say that it's interesting to see, well, I mean, I've never heard of your family, so it's odd to see someone I don't know at this side of the table. You say that you have a proposition. And she begins, yes, indeed, I do. You see, you may not know of me, but I have read extensively of your family and, well, of its end goals, of its sort of dreams, as you might say. And in that, I have seen, let me be blunt, you're hemorrhaging money. He says, listen, I don't talk about that. No, pretense aside, you're hemorrhaging money. And I would like to provide a solution. He sort of pauses. Solution, then. Yes, a solution. A way to ease yourself. To alleviate any burden amongst yourself. Seems as though this idea is, well, to be frank, people who talk plainly seem to have better motives, and those who talk subtly are the ones who have the most to hide and seem to want not what's best for people, but what's best for themselves. Isn't that what you would like in this entire moment? To not think of someone else, to think of now? Yes. Well, what is this proposition? There's a mine of yours, isn't there? You have several, but none are actually working properly. You sent word to Rakia, assuming the dwarves will do something. The gnomes have some hidden knowledge for you. But unfortunately, for them, you already have everything you need. And it could work to your benefit to partner with them for sure. But you could be in control. You see, hidden in the Dunmore Quarry, you know that smaller one, right near Reef Fallow. There's material there worth thousands. You can't see it because you can't. You just can't. You don't have the practiced hands of working in the earth or proper connections. I have those proper connections. We could make you rich. My contact and I. You seem what do you need to, and what would I need to do to meet this contact? A very simple thing. All I need all I need is a day's worth of access to that mine. And if something were to happen, some form of tragedy to the surrounding area, your compliance in its accidental nature, as well as any amount of brushing under the rug, if you may. And that, as he sits there contemplating, is where the memory fades. And you come back into yourself. The rest of you kind of notice the sort of intake of breath, almost as if she's been holding her breath for the past 2 minutes.
You all right?
I think I'd like some water. And,
Create food and water. I prepared that today. Create food and water.
Yeah.
I drink the water, like all of it.
You throw the food away.
Well, she brings the food on a very tiny plate.
I take it to the mouse.
Yeah,
Here.
yeah.
He's like, oh my gosh. It's so much.
I can't eat this in the time it's going to go bad, so...
Call some friends over. Have a party.
He's got a version of the door, but it's a mouse door.
I love it.
I decided to take a look back at Arwen and Palos' meeting. It seems she was given access to the mines for a day and able to I don't know when it happened, I guess, but she might have set herself up or something. I don't know if you all know, but my village was set afire. I don't know, maybe this is when that happened. She kind of made it so she could do that. But she introduced him to the metal, the devil metal. He didn't know it was there beforehand.
I apologize if I'm being obtuse. It just occurred to me now, this tragedy we've heard around Halos. Was that around the time of what happened to your village? Is that what this tragedy could be referring to?
Chelsea doesn't know the answer to that. No.
Yours would have been years ago. Years before what Dr. Quill would have known.
Okay, was referring to.
Yeah. Okay. I was like, I had to put that together.
Right.
No, mine was sooner, earlier. I was younger.
Right. Do you know if Pelos owned that mine while you lived there?
I don't know, but I think so.
From your findings, the mines have been in the Quill family for like years.
Quill family, or like he specifically owned it?
The Quill family. Like it was a family mine. It's a family thing, and it's something that, they've owned it. They've owned it for a very long time.
She could have been setting this up for a while. It could be that burning the village might have been preparation for what she wanted to do in the mine.
I don't think it was preparation. I think it was a happy coincidence.
Either way, we know that she's at least somewhat behind this now.
Also, just to make sure, the mine is a mithril mine. I should have said the word. That was what Arwen was referencing to Pelos Quill, was the mithril, not the infernal steel. Just to clarify, that was what she was talking about when she said it to Pelos, was there's mithril in the mine.
Yeah,
so he might not know. He still might not know.
He might not know about the infernal steel. However, we have been told that it is in the same place where they get the mithril.
I mean, she was given a day to look around.
She could have set that up.
Whatever was required to create the link between the hells and here for the steel to be that link, she could have been doing that then.
Either way, it's got to be connected in some fashion, even if we can't figure out the exact way. It's too coincidental. Well, look, if going into this mine is going to get Arwen coming after us.
2 birds.
It just makes one of our jobs easier.
3 birds, 1 stone, metal.
3 birds, 1 ore.
The longer this goes on, the more birds seem to be gathering in this one spot. So...
I really don't like this.
You're right, I'm sorry. I know you like birds. Alright.
3 corns on 1 cob.
Because I hate corn.
I hate them.
It's
Corn
sweet,
on the
but
fish.
they put it in mashed potatoes?
Most of it isn't even edible. You can't even eat the cob. Alright, well.
Would this be, do you think the arm is nearing done?
So, more to the point of, it's sort of those things where it's like over the course of the next few days, you're having to, the most that you actually need Philip for is sizings. So you're trying to actually make the attachment lock, like that actually, like, because he got it down, like basically from here down, it has to properly attach here, which is semi-surgical on Philip. Because it has to actually attach to nerve endings and bone structure, so like he has to be sedated, which takes a while, given his abilities.
It's like tranquilizing a horse.
Yeah,
a horse. It's tranquilizing a horse with magic blood.
Yeah.
If I had my old eye, you'd have been out.
Just use the new one on me.
But
roll the dice.
I still haven't gotten to use it.
But yeah. So that's what I would say is that it's like it's nearing completion. You all of your checks have made out, like your material as finally as you got the material and the actual schematics on top of that. You guys have been working kind of semi-tirelessly to speed through this a little bit more. By the third and the fourth day, Sitlali, Liam, you are still under the effects of these of this like transmutative effect. And during that time, Liam, not on the third night, but on the evening of the fourth, you wake up again to holding a third of those little. It looks like you would put you would put like a little sphere or like a ball inside of it, like. It's just a little resting nook, and so you've made a third.
And are those just sitting in our forge?
You can
do I know where they are when I wake up? They're just there.
They just keep. Yeah, you could throw them away. You could do whatever you would like with them. I haven't heard you say anything, so I've assumed you've held on to them. Yeah.
Okay.
So that's up to you what you would like to do with them, but you've made a third.
Okay.
On the morning of the fifth day, Sitlali, you find yourself. There's no longer a transmutative, but Liam, you do find that you are still phasing through, and have to be dispelled. Upon which, the morning of the sixth day, you are no longer. You like reach out for the metal handle, and you hold on to it.
We're good. Folks, we're home.
Alright.
During this time, the actual inner workings of the arm are based on your rolls, like it's a lot of like the most difficult day on the 18 was the spool of cable mixing with the gas pressure release of the wrist. It's a lot to put into a small, like arguably the longest part of your arm, but it is still a lot to put into one place. And you kind of have this genius idea of having the compressed air kind of... the spool itself has to work around the other parts. And so what it does is it gives it a sort of... the way you've actually spooled it, it's given it a way to not... to be very hard to, like, kink up in the machine. And on the retraction of the cable was where it was giving you trouble, was that it's like, how do we then get it to come back into that same formation? But you were able to just barely, you made it work. It was kind of like a surge of 3 a.m. genius. You just kind of like, and by the end of the third day of work, you've placed it and attached it to Philip's support, right there, right here. And it is now essentially the preliminary test of functionality.
Tyler.
Oh, you gotta, yeah.
Alright, Philip, if you wanna come with me real quick.
Yeah.
Here, head this way. I'm gonna start leading Philip upstairs past the rooms and such.
As you move your way up into the mansion, you pass the main rooms, you pass the library, the head up to the training room, and as you guys step out onto the sand pit and the elevator, the stairs, the stairs meld down to the floor again. Liam kind of just points over, and these varying heights of pillars, these sort of like 5-foot structures, kind of dot the entire landscape of the sand pit. Some of them are at like 20 feet high, some at 10 feet high. There's one at 50, there's another at 35, all kind of spread out around.
Let's give her a go.
By give her a go, you mean,
I mean, we have a lot of things we should be testing out, make sure everything's fully functioning. First, I think, some basic tests of the launch and retract of the arm.
Yeah, I'll just point it at, nothing real quick.
You pointed at, like, the far wall, and in this gas-powered sort of explosion... Not explosion, sorry.
Jesus.
Not explosion, I just mean, like... force forward.
Expulsion?
I don't know what the... Expulsion, thank
Yeah.
you. That was what I was trying to say. As the sort of the carbon steel cable kind of like whipping back and forth as it's extending all the way forward. It doesn't find any purchase as it is just kind of shooting straight forward towards the far end of the wall, and it eventually lands. After it shoots out about 20 to 22 feet, it starts to fall down to the ground as the length of rope is is at its end. And once it hits the end, you do feel this little, like, it's kind of pushed forward in a lock position as it's at its max length, and it just kind of is still sitting there.
Yeah. It's like,
It doesn't.
No, if you just
is it? Do I think it? Do I push something? Go. How do I get it back?
Yeah, so the lever's actually hooked to the extension of your elbow. If you straighten your elbow out all the way, it'll hit the lever that makes it retract.
Oh. All right.
You feel this, like, almost slightly more attuned dexterity in your fingers. It's so much more mechanically exact that there are times where you can feel that it's not natural, that it's not your fleshy parts, but it is something where it's like it feels as normal as your other arm.
It's gonna take some getting used to, but
We know the grapple mechanism's working. There's one other thing we should try out. Do you have your pick on you right now?
yeah.
I'm gonna draw my hammers. Hammer mode. Hit me. Let's do this.
Just I don't want to. This is a pretty heavy.
This is the training room, Philip. We ain't used it once. Let's go. Me and you. I've wanted to know for a while now. Let's do this.
Oh.
Should I roll initiative?
All right. Should we roll initiative?
Yeah.
Okay, let's do it.
Alright.
Yeah, go ahead.
Battle Royale.
That's about what I usually get for initiative.
Was it a 6?
Oi.
16.
Okay, so
Yep.
it'll be Philip and then Liam.
Which makes sense. He told me to go. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So you're moving up to him to try to, like, swing the arm, and it's this thing where you're feeling the ease of, like, regardless of go ahead and roll me an attack roll.
Yeah. 12.
So it's one of those things where you're trying to hold back, and you're just trying to like, I don't really want to fight you, but as you're bringing it in, and Liam, you kind of like bring your hammer back to kind of catch the pick and push it the other way. As it impacts on the hammer, you're feeling from there's a different sort of shock absorption in your hand, like as it pulls down. There's kind of a lessening, and it feels like it's trying to ease the strain that it would put on the joint of your elbow.
Alright. Second attack. 18.
Total?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Misses. 19 AC.
Alright.
Again, you're kind of like a little bit of a dodge out of the way.
It's like starting up just like, okay, alright. Okay, that's not gonna hurt him. Alright, let's go a little harder.
Liam, your turn. Oh, sorry, you have bonus actions.
Alright, then I'll do the shield bash. 15. still no hit.
You're like, I don't know. You're like not even looking. Go ahead, Liam.
Alright. Good.
I'm gonna go for a melee hit with the Thieves' Mithril Hammer.
Okay.
I'm also gonna try and do I have to hit before I can do this? Or do I use this spell? I want to force him back 10 feet.
Yeah, you have to hit to be able to force.
Okay, so if I hit, I'll expend the point. Alright. What's that roll to hit button? It's in actions.
Yes.
Does 22 hit you?
Yes.
Yes.
Awesome. Hit, expel back 10 feet.
Is that and that's not like a strength save or anything, right? That's just an expel?
Yeah, just expel back 10 feet. One person within 5 feet.
Okay.
It just cost a point to do.
Alright.
As he kind of strikes against your shield.
Ooh.
12 points of damage. You're feeling it as it slides against the sand.
We're not going to get a solid test if you're swinging like that. Toss my other hammer at him. I'll just 10 feet back. Oh, yikes. 26. So that hits.
You did so good. This is great. Yeah, that hits.
Okay. 7 on this one.
So it kind of just like hits you in the shoulder. Like the like you're trying to lift your shield up and it's just a little too slow. As you're trying to like catch yourself at the end, you're just not able to bring your shield back in as it kind of like hits you in the side of your chest and goes back to Liam's hand.
Alright. I'm gonna cast Thunderous Smite. But I'm gonna upcast it. Oh, you can upcast it. Huh. Why did I think Thunderous Smite could be upcast?
Because your usual smite can be.
I thought all the smites could. Oh well. Yeah, alright, Thunder yeah, I'm gonna put Thunderous Smite on. And then just accept it as like, alright. And 19.
Meets.
Yeah, what's
Is that goes
If
to
you
your main?
match or exceed, you hit.
Alright.
Alright, so Thunderous
Save a shield. I'll save the shield. Alright.
Alright, so Thunderous Smite goes off, and then I'll also Divine Smite at the third level.
Okay. So how much damage is that?
So that's gonna be so Divine Smite at third level, that's gonna be 4d8 from that of Radiant. And then also the improved Divine Smite gives me another of D8
I
of
should have
Radiant
cast
damage.
shield. Alright.
And then it's 2d6 from the Thunderous Smite, and then a d8 from the regular hit.
Can you do a Thunderous Smite and a Smite on top of that?
The smites have looked into it. The smites, it's an effect that you put on your weapon that lasts for a minute until you hit something.
It's a bonus action to cast that?
It's a bonus action to cast it, and then it stays on
so
your
you
weapon.
use your bonus action to cast this thing to then make your attack. Cool.
Yeah.
Just making sure.
Cool.
So
All
it's 1d8 for the weapon.
1d8 weapon damage.
5d8.
It's an 8. It's an
Okay.
8 on the weapon die.
Okay, and then 5d8 for
5d8 of bonus
smite.
radiant damage. 3, 10, 22 bonus radiant damage.
So 30.
And then
Alright.
the 2d6 Thunderous Smite.
Oh, he's still got one more.
2d6,
Great.
2d6 from the Thunderous Smite. So extra 6 thunder damage.
And then plus
And then
4.
plus 4. So that's another 10 added to what I got from this. So I think it's...
Sorry, no, 36 plus 4 is 40.
Yeah. 36 plus 4 is 40.
And then I'm trying to think if there's anything... No, that's it. That's it.
And then also, because I hit him with Thunderous Smite, a strength saving throw or be pushed 10 feet away and knocked prone.
So go ahead and roll a strength saving throw, Miles, and take 40 points of damage.
Oh, that's not... Alright, that's not strength.
And I'll say you don't get his plus 4 because you guys are currently enemies.
21 for the saving throw?
Yeah,
Yeah,
that passes.
Great.
So
take 40 points of damage.
So everybody else in the house hears the thunder ring out.
Well, you're hearing
Yeah, it's thunder that can be heard within 300 feet.
as Philip moves in, and in one hit, just kind of Philip, what you feel as you do this as well. You're feeling like a whirring in your forearm, and there is a slight radiant glow. As it and on the palm, sorry, not the palm, on the backside of your hand, Liam, you know this as you put this here, glows the symbol of ROI.
Oh.
And it just this big
I was like, hey, it worked!
Yeah. You're like, yeah! Boom! As it basically obliterates part of the pillar that you guys are fighting right next to. Like, the sand just kind of like shifts out and then shifts back together as a solid object. And Liam, you're able to hold the hit, but it's basically like you've put your hammers up to hold it, and it kind of strikes against the hammers, and it's one of those like knee buckling hits that like you've definitely just put out your back.
Yep.
Like to try to you've like overextended, and so it's just really hurting. But as you pull your hand back, Philip, the whirring kind of slows down, but you are still able to see that sort of like slight indentation. It's more of a raised etching of the symbol of ROI.
Okay, that's cool. I'm going again. So that was one attack.
Yep.
Jesus.
That's
22.
22.
Shield.
And so, not wanting that to happen again, Liam has definitely erected a sort of
Shields plus 5, right? Yeah,
Yes.
plus 5, so 24. Boom.
All right.
next round. Yeah.
Yeah, next round.
Well, basically until the start of your turn, which is about to happen.
Yeah.
After that, I basically just call it for a moment and just say, like, is there something that you're hoping to achieve through this?
I mean, fighting. We're testing out his new thing. I did want to test out my new toy as well.
Cool. Then I will pose it to you, sir.
Yeah, so it just shielded. Back,
You're not pushed back. You just
like
kind of
thing to
push
the
down
side,
a
yeah.
little bit, like
Down, get the thing to the side, dip out of the way of the next hit, and I'm just going, or I shield on that one,
Yeah,
so I
yeah,
guess he hits me and it magic shield I cast comes up. I just reach up to the eye, flick the little switch, and the iris opens.
Yeah!
Let's play. And anime to be continued side. No, I'm just kidding.
No, yeah, you gotta do it. You gotta do it now.
I cast Liam's Energy Transfer, also known as the Hammer Fist Shuffle.
All right. What does this do?
So you are going to roll a saving throw for me.
Okay. What kind?
It is going to be a
I hope it's one that's
so Constitution saving throw.
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm probably not
Oh,
going to hit with this.
man.
Even if it was 17. But
Yeah.
I rolled a 20.
Yep,
So
all right.
26 on the save.
yeah,
Damn it!
nothing happens.
Damn
It would have been a very anticlimactic
Can I?
to be
Can
continued.
I
You know what?
willingly
No,
fail the
he
save?
fails. He fails his Constitution saving throw. He's not focused.
I willingly-
He's got to do it with disadvantage.
Okay, disadvantage. 19. I rolled a 19.
Oh man. Well,
It's more of a crowd control spell anyway, but someday y'all will see what it does. One person isn't a great example of its ability anyway, but still.
yeah. But you should just roll a d6 for me anyway.
So he can describe what doesn't work. I wish I failed this.
Then choose to
It's a 4.
fail it.
Ooh. Oh, that's right. That's right. Yeah, that would have been a.
Yeah.
But it's cool. All right. As the eye takes no effect, and Liam, you're like, and you guys sort of continue your fight. We won't say who wins and loses. We'll just leave that up to the imagination.
Yeah, nobody wants to know that. How much HP do you have left after that one hit?
42.
Together, cat. All right.
I
Yeah,
want a
my-
battle royale.
I was my next strat cast blur because yikes, I can't let you hit me.
Well, it's the same fight that it was the same
Dispel
lesson
magic.
that you learned in Rudnick. You know, it's like
Yeah.
all right, I'm a good crowd control. I may not be the best at.
Listen, you only get better by practicing.
Blur-
You know, I'm working on my strats. Keep trying to get him back.
Also,
you know,
you let the hit happen too. Like you're like, I
could've
could
shielded.
do shield, and it would have prevented it. But
I only have 4, but yes.
yeah. All right. As the two of you begin your training, we'll call it. Philip, he's also tasked you with sort of like, all right, after you guys end your fight, whichever way it lands, we won't talk about it.
I was like, can I cast levitate and get on one of these pillars, bait him up here? But
Ooh, sure.
I don't know if I would have had time.
It would have been interesting, but yeah. So he's tasked you with kind of like try it out, and what you find is that as it latches onto ledges and the like, it's able to pull you up no problem. What you know as well, Miles, is that the cables themselves can withstand the weight of about 600 pounds. So it's one of those things where you're no effort kind of being pulled through. You kind of advise that like you shouldn't go to the maximum. That will probably tense the cable and it won't really retract correctly. That's kind of the problem that you were having with your 18, is that you're like, this is going to be a factor to this design, is that
Yeah.
it's going to be tough.
I'm only 100.
Full length there is for emergency use only. Because
Yeah.
it might only... Because we might have to do some repairs before we can use it again after that.
I'm only
Right.
170, so.
So that's the nature of this arm, is that it is mechanical, so it does subject itself to any spell like that's going to cause it harm, or any effect like in weather or that kind of stuff. You've made it out of material that is resistant to just like basic rain, so you're not like, it's like stainless steel. You're not going to have to really like worry about that as much as you are going to have to worry about. It is still mechanical, so things like if you're in the frozen tundra for days, or like it's going to affect its mechanical abilities, as well as it's a gas powered expulsion. So that's another thing, is that if you're working within a vacuum, it still could work because it's a contained expulsion, but that has a lasting value. I didn't put charges on it or anything, but it is one of those things that's like, it does take time to like recharge. You can't like do it once and then do it right after. I have it here. I will send it to you. But
Thank you.
As we end tonight with this sort of beautiful tete-a-tete, I hope you enjoyed our story today. We will see you next week with the next installment as they run into the southern Rotendia wilderness and all the machinations that come about. Thank you for watching. Hope you have a good night.